Hey guys, Arena Stories here, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can beat every class in Season of Discovery Phase 5 as a sub-rogue. First off guys, we have a Protection Warrior. We're going to go for a cheap shot into 2 backstabs here, into a Between the Eyes. Between the Eyes does get resisted since he is Warp guys. We do get disarmed here guys. We are instantly going to pop an evasion to avoid any bleeds. We are going to go in for an instant blind here guys. The Warrior will trinket this guys. We are going to vanish, shadow step away from him to avoid getting out of stealth. We are now just waiting for the stun DRs to come off. The warrior is still sitting with a shield here. Sadly, we do get found out, guys. Again, it is absolutely fine. We are going to continue pumping him with backstabs. We are not instantly going to vanish here, guys. Now, the reason why, guys, is because he is still using a one-handed sword. And overpower does not hit for anything if he is using a one-handed sword. So you can comfortably go near him and start pumping him with damage. But the millisecond he does use a two-handed weapon, guys, you do want to back off. So we are going to continue pumping him with damage here. Vanish, go for a stun. It does resist again. He is orc guys. We're gonna gain some distance here. Shadow step to come back in. We do want to apply that crippling poison so he does not gain distance and move freely. He is going to use fear on us. We are going to use Forsaken. And one very important thing I wanted to mention, guys, if you are any other race other than undead, only thing you want to trinket from a warrior, guys, is his fear. Now the reason why is because once they fear you, it is their window to use bandage and completely heal themselves, and we do not want that to happen. Only use trinket to get feared by a warrior, or if you are playing undead, will Forsaken. Gouge there. Now the reason why we go for a gouge here, guys, in an additional combo point here to go in for a full stun. We're going to go for Between the Eyes, stop popping him with damage here. He will go down, guys. Showing guys another example with an arms warrior. We're going to go for a cheap shot into a double backstab. Continuously pumping out damage, gonna go for a kidney shot. He will trinket the kidney shot, guys. We are instantly gonna go for a blind here. The reason why we go for an instant blind, guys, is to reset our stun DRs on him and gain control again. It is not worth fighting him and pumping him with damage, not having stuns in him or any control. Our kill window, guys, as a sub rogue is when our target is in a stun. Warrior does use an AoE shout. We do come out, we go for a vanish, we go for a cheap shot. Unfortunately, it does not land. We're gonna have to use evasion here. Is using a one-handed weapon. As I've stated before, guys, if he is using a one-handed weapon, absolutely fine to be within range from him, since you can just dodge his abilities, and if he does use overpower, it hits you for nothing. So we are continuously going to attack him and pump him with damage for a kidney shot here, continuously pumping him with backstabs into an eviscerate, and he will use his defensive abilities as well as trinket to regain HP. Now it's very important to note, guys, that this HP is limited, so it is not worth fighting for. He will stun us here, guys. We're going to go for an instant blind. Now, as I stated before, you only want to trinket fears in this scenario, are not playing undead. It's his window to recover and heal. Instant blind, guys, we are waiting for his defensives to run out and go back to 10% HP. We are just going to use bandage here to play safe. Re-enter stealth, go for a sap here. He will get out of that. We are just stalling for time. Wait for his defensives to run out. He will drop to 15% HP, shadow step back in, and it is basically all over, guys. And again, once I've stated before, you guys only want to trinket fear. If he does stun you, do not trinket that stun, since he will just fear you and fully recover. I'll be showing you guys another example once again. Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys multiple examples of the same class is because there are different scenarios, and I want you guys to get comfortable with each and every different scenario. So again, we're going to go for a cheap shot into a double backstab here, guys, into a Between the Eyes. Now, I want you guys to notice something very important. Whenever I do go for a Between the Eyes, I always keep a little bit of distance, and in case it does get resisted, as you can see here, our Between the Eyes does not land, unfortunately, but luckily, since we did keep distance, which is the best thing to do against a warrior, he is using a one-handed weapon and a shield. As I've stated before, you can use evasion in this situation. He does swap to a two-handed weapon. Now we do not want to get close to him at all, guys, since he can use overpower and kill us. He switches back to a one-handed weapon here. Use a backstab. We just want to apply that crippling poison again to buy some time. He does pop a fear on us, guys. We will use Will of Forsaken. He does charge us here, guys, and we are instantly going to trinket that. Go for an immediate blind, guys. Again, saying this for the third time, guys, please do not trinket anything other than fear if you are not playing undead. If you are playing undead, it is absolutely fine. And he will have to trinket that, guys, in order to get to us, but we do pre-vanish here. The reason why we pre-vanish here, guys, because we do not want him to rush us and bleed us. And we do come back in for a cheap shot here, start pumping him with backstab damage, go for a kidney shot. One important thing I wanted to mention as well, guys, if you are going to go for a kidney shot instead of a Between the Eyes, and the difference between a kidney shot and Between the Eyes is that kidney shot is 1 second longer. So if you are going to go for a kidney shot, please do kidney shot him 1 second ahead of cheap shot in order to see if it gets resisted or not. You do not wait for that. You do not want to wait for the last 0.3 seconds of that cheap shot in case your kidney shot does get resisted. As you can see here, I kidney shot quite fast and it does get resisted. It gives me enough time to move away. We're going to play the distance game here, trying to gain a re-stealth. We're going to go for a gouge. The reason why we go for a gouge again, guys, is to gain a bit of control for a few seconds and as well as a combo point. Shadow step into a backstab to reapply that poison. He does charge us, guys, but it is basically already over and he will go down here, guys. Now I'll be showing you guys another example as well. Again, I am showing you guys multiple examples of the same class for different scenarios and different situations. So we're going to come in, cheap shot. Unfortunately, he AoEs us out. We're going to vanish here, cheap shot again, continuously pumping with backstab damage here, guys. Kidney shot, he does trinket that, guys. We are instantly going to go for a blind here again, regaining control, waiting for the stun DRs to completely come off, guys. We're going to go for a sap here, guys, since he is in the wrong stance and he cannot remove it. Waiting for our kidney shot to come back so we can reopen on him. Cheap shot here into a double backstab, just continuously pumping with damage. As I stated before, guys, you want to gain a little bit of distance if you use between the eyes. We use between the eyes here to see if it does get resisted. It does not get resisted. We come back in, start pumping him with more damage. He is going to summon his servants using his trinket. Now, do not stress out here, guys. They are just there to annoy you. We're going to pop an evasion to avoid any damage from his pets. He's going to pop his defensives. Again, forget about the pets, guys. Do not worry about them. You're just going to use evasion, completely dodge them. They do not do anything. Our main focus is the warrior. Do not lose track of that. Your cheap shot, guys, into a double backstab, into another blind here. Obviously, I did not have to blind there. I could have just finished him off, but just to play a safe game. And it is completely over. Now, the next class is going to be a Boomkin Druid. Now, he was playing with a priest buff here, which gives him an additional 800 HP. So I want you guys to notice something very, very important. The druid is spamming his spell, which removes poisons. So when we do cheap shot him, go for a kidney shot, go for a blind. His poison, to prevent that from happening, guys, we are just going to go for a sap here, reapplying those poison removals. Going to give it a couple of seconds here, guys. Wait for our energy to regenerate. Cheap shot into a backstab here, double backstab. Go for a full between the eyes. He does sadly land Fairy Fire on us quite early, which is not the best, but it does not mean we cannot win, guys. We are instantly going to blind him here. Now, the reason why we blind him here, guys, is to wait for our stun DRs to come back. We cannot kill him without our stun DRs. We're going to go back in for backstabs, guys. Just buying time, trying to get that Fairy Fire to come out of us. Trying to stall for that Fairy Fire. He does use regeneration here, which is amazing. We're just going to go for a full gouge to another backstab. Go for a full kidney shot here, guys. We are just buying time here. Wait for his defenses to come off. Continuously pumping him for combo points. He does use War Stomp on us, guys. We are going to trinket that to kick Spellcast here into a preparation into another blind. We are going to use bandages to recover here, guys. Now, if you guys notice, Fairy Fire is about to come off of us. Go for another kidney shot here. It is the yard, sadly. Does finally come off of us, guys. We go for an instant vanish into a cheap shot and instantly pump him with damage. This is our window and he will go down here, guys. Now I'm showing you guys another scenario here. We're gonna go for a cheap shot again, as always, guys. Pump him with damage. Go for a kidney shot here. Now, if you guys notice, kidney shot is immune. The reason why is because this druid is cheating, guys. He is using a P limited action potion, which makes him immune to all stuns. Completely unfair, guys. Please do not use bots in a duel. It is just unethical, unfair, and you have no balls and no honor, in my opinion. Now that he's immune to stuns, I am forced to blind here immediately, guys. And again, distance here. He will trinket it, guys. You want to vanish here? We are instantly going to vanish here. He does use Starfall, thinking he is going to get us. Now that he has done that, he is basically screwed. We are just waiting for Starfall to come out. We're waiting for our stun DRs to come out. Just buying some time here, guys. Since he did cheat, he does go for a Nature's Grasp. When they do go for a Nature's Grasp, guys, I want you to be very careful in terms of your distancing, because you can cheap shot him from quite a distance and it could put you at a disadvantage. Want to be near him, go for a cheap shot, continuously pumping him, guys. Now that he has no trinket and he cheated, still going to pump him as hard as we can. Go for a full kidney shot here, spamming that damage, and he will go down here, guys. I'm showing guys another example here. Now this is the perfect scenario, whenever you guys do open on a boomkin, at the time they will trinket your kidney shot to use fairy fire on you, so it is best to hold out on your GCD after your kidney shot to go in for a blind. If you do manage to do that, guys, you can actually end the game right there. So we're gonna go for a cheap shot into 2 backstabs into a full between the eyes. Now, if you guys can see here, I do not pump him with backstabs instantly. I am holding my GCD in order to see if he trinkets. He does trinket. I instantly go for a blind, guys, and the game is basically already over. Since the druid cannot use his defenses, he does not have a trinket anymore, there's absolutely nothing he can do. We're just going to go for a sap, wait for the stun DRs to come off just to finish him off, and it is pretty much already over, guys. And I want you guys to mainly use this tactic when you are fighting boomkins, since it is the most effective, the safest way to play it, and you can basically end the game quite fast. We pump him with damage here and he will go down, guys. Now the class is going to be warlocks, guys. There's actually 3 different ways you can beat a warlock. I'll be showing you all 3 different ways here. The first way is going for the warlock himself. We're going to sprint in, guys, and as you guys can see, he keeps his pet at a certain distance in order for his pet to charge us and stun us. And one thing I wanted to mention, if the pet does stun you guys from a distance, I want you to trinket that immediately. Start pumping the warlock with stuns and damage. So we're going to go for a cheap shot here. Pump him with as much damage as we can before the pet does reach us to gain combo points. The pet will charge us with a stun. We will trinket that, guys. Go for a full kidney shot here. Continuously pumping him with damage. Now, if he does trinket this, guys, you instantly want to go for a blind or a vanish. He does not trinket here, but again, if he does, you guys just want to get away. We're going to continuously pump him with damage. You go for an eviscerate, instantly blind, vanish, and away. Now, the reason why we went for a blind is for him not to use Hellstone and for him not to use bandages. And he cannot afford to wait for the stun DRs to come off, so he instantly does have to trinket that. Now that he has done that, we're going to come in, shadow step into an ambush, instantly vanish again, guys. Ambush again, eviscerate, and the game is over. And now I'll be showing you guys a second way of beating warlocks. This is actually a much safer way to do it. You guys are going to want to sap the warlock. We do not have sprint here, sadly. You do want to sprint here. We are going to shadow step to his pet and try to kill his pet on the opener while the warlock is still in a sap. Now, important thing to note here, guys, if the warlock does trinket the sap and he starts charging you, I want you guys to try to possibly kill the pet while running away. If you cannot, immediately vanish, guys, and then reopen on the warlock. The sap does break a bit early here, guys, but we do manage to get the pet. The warlock does resummon the pet. We are instantly going to vanish here, guys. We have to come back in. He is healing his pet, which is not the best. Now our second sap is going to be on DR, but absolutely fine. Still enough time to kill the pet. We're going to go for a sap here. Go back on the pet here, guys. The pet is quite squishy. You can kill him on the opener. It is absolutely fine. We do kill him here, guys. Now, once you do kill him, guys, please gain maximum amount of distance in order not to get cursed. If the warlock does trinket, immediately blind them, guys. And it is basically GG. He does not trinket this. Gain distance. The sap does not break here. We gain a restuff, we come back in, and the game is pretty much already over, guys. We're going to cheap shot into a double backstab here, into a stun. We will trinket that. We are instantly going to go for a blind here, and the game is already won. That is the second way of beating warlocks, and in my opinion, the best possible way to beat them in the safest format. We're just going to sap in here, a cheap shot, go for an ambush into a cheap shot, and it is basically already over. I'll be showing you guys a third way of beating them. Now this technique is a bit overkill, but it is extremely effective. This technique is mainly used for tournaments. Again, you guys do not have to do this. I am just showing you what you can do as a rogue. Minimize risk and go for a win. Now we are going to come in here, guys. Go for a cheap shot on the warlock into an evasion to avoid any pet damage. Pump him with backstabs in order to gain 5 combo points. Go for a stun here. We will trinket the pet stun. Continuously pumping him here, guys. Instantly vanish. We're going to go for an ambush here. We go for a blind. Instantly pop preparation. Vanish again. Warlock is holding out here. If we can trinket our full kidney shot in the next opener. Now what we are going to do is switch trinkets, guys. We are going to be playing with Shadow Reflector. Now the reason why, guys, is because we do not have a trinket at this point. The pet will charge us. The best thing that we can do here, sap the warlock. The reason why we want our trinket, guys, is for If he does manage to death coil us, he does regain 20% HP, and we also get CC'd, which will not be the best. So we go for a cheap shot. Sadly, it does resist, guys. He is playing Orc. The pet does charge us. Luckily, the sap here, but even if he was not in sap, guys, it is still absolutely fine. We have the upper hand. The Shadow Reflector, he uses Life Stream. It does not take damage here. He cannot just going to continuously pump it with damage. He does use Death Coil there quite late. Again, absolutely fine. We're going to blind the pet in order not to take damage. Again, start pumping him with ambushes, and he will go down here, guys. Next up, guys, we have rogues. Now, when you are fighting rogues, guys, since I do specialize in rogues, I'm going to be showing you multiple ways and multiple tricks in order to beat them. First off, guys, for the first scenario, I want you guys to switch your gear here in order to find the rogue, in order to find the enemy rogue and be optimal. So the first thing we're going to switch is our helm, cat's eye of the goggles. Second is our boots, dark metal boots, and finally Filcher's cowl. I want you guys to be playing with 3 of these gears whenever you are 1v1ing a rogue. Gain the upper hand, gain a sap and a stun, since you do have a major advantage on the opener if the rogue does trinket quite early. Now that we have equipped our gear in order to find the rogue, we find him here, go for a sap. We switch back our gear, guys, in order to get the set bonus. Go for a cheap shot into a double backstep here, go for a stun. He trinkets, we trinket the cheap shot into an instant blind, and the game is already basically over, guys. Now, that was the first scenario. That is the best possible way you can fight a rogue, the safest way to fight a rogue, in my opinion. Now, for the second scenario, guys, if the rogue does manage to sap you, best possible bet is to instantly trinket, blind him in a little bit of distance with sprint, act as if you're trying to get away, and vanish and come back at him. I'll be showing you guys what to do here if you do get sapped. I want you guys to pay very close attention here. I am spamming blind while I am in a sap. Now, the reason why I am spamming blind, guys, is because some rogues use tricks like ambush vanish to apply pressure on the rogue, or some rogues like to use garrote, bleed then re-vanish, waiting in the stun DRs to come off and kill the rogue later. So for that reason, you always want to be spamming blind when you are in a sap, guys, since the rogue can play dirty tricks. Now we are spamming that blind, guys, to see what he does. He does go for a cheap shot, guys. Now for our best bet here, we are going to have to trinket this, instantly blind, sprint away, instantly vanish, guys. He trinkets that blind, cheap shot him, and it is basically already over, guys. A gamble that you have to take if you are in this situation, guys, since you already are in a huge disadvantage in a possible play. Showing you guys a third example again here. You get sapped. You instantly want to keep spamming that blind, guys. Again, you do not know what his open is going to be. He can ambush you, he can garrote you, he can cheap shot you. We're going to continuously spam that blind here. He does go for a garrote, guys. Now, again, the reason why I want you to spam blind continuously, guys, you can get him if he tries to get away. As you can see there, he sprinted away, tried to vanish, but obviously he was not fast enough since we already pre-spamming blind. And as I've stated before, the reason why they go for a garrote, guys, to bleed you out, is to use bleed on you to make sure you do not vanish while they damage you and then vanish away during a cheap shot. Go for a cheap shot here between the eyes. Does trinket that. Obviously we can just trinket his CC, vanish, blind, and kill him, and it is already all over. I'll be showing guys another example here. The other best ways to go for rogue. I do spot the rogue at a certain distance here, guys, so we are going to go for a fan of knives to get him out. Instantly go for a blind. They never expect that, guys. For a blind here, guys, since they do not expect to come out of stealth, and they are spamming sap on you. Get the upper hand for a blind here. If he does trinket that, guys, he is already dead. He does trinket that stun. We are instantly going to trinket this, guys, for a cheap shot here, and he is basically gone. Guys, another example here. I'm giving the rogue the opener. Guys, what you can do here now in this scenario, the worst possible thing does happen. He does sap me here, guys. Go for a blind. He does use rupture on us, unfortunately, which is the worst possible scenario. Three stuff. Now we do not have trinket. We come back in, protect his trinket. This is the worst possible scenario you can be in, guys. We go for a preparation, go for a kidney shot, instantly vanish that, guys. Hopefully he does trinket that. He does not trinket that, guys. He does get greedy. At that, guys, we go for an ambush. Now predicting that he would possibly use his trinket to try and kill us, and you guys have to time this. Do not use any GCDs after this. He does trinket. We instantly go for a blind, guys, and it is completely over. Again, this is the worst possible scenario you can be in, but you have to play like this, guys. Guys, another example here against the rogue. Once you are sapped, I want you guys to continuously press blind here to see what he does. You never know. And sprint away, instantly go for a vanish here. Come back in, shadow step, he does trinket vanish. We go for a preparation here, guys. Use fan of knives to get him out. He does not expect it. Instantly go for a blind again, and it is all over. It is all about setup. It is all about predicting your target when you are facing a rogue, especially when you are in a horrible situation. We go for a cheap shot here, double backstab, a stun, and it is completely over, guys. And he will go down there. Now the next example is going to be priests. Now, just for some context, I actually ran into Danny Gaming. He is the world's best shadow priest in World of Warcraft right now. He's a good streamer as well. I did happen to come across him in a BG here. So we are going to come in here, guys, shadow step into a cheap shot, keep on spamming that backstab on him to gain combo points, go for a stun, does trinket that stun, guys. We are instantly going to blind him here, get behind cover in case that blind does break, sap him, wait for the stun DRs to come off. And the game is pretty much already over, guys. It really does depend if he uses his CCs right here. Sadly, he does not, and he will go down. I'll be showing you guys another example here, but from Danny's perspective. Again, Danny is an amazing sport, guys. He's a really cool guy. Check him out sometime. I do open on him here, guys, with a cheap shot. Spam that backstab on him. We go for a full kidney shot here, gaining those combo points. Sadly, I do get interrupted from another paladin. I do get repped here. I get CC'd, which is unfair. And he does get out here. He goes for a fear. I am undead. I can go for a will forsaken, vanish here, go for a cheap shot, try to finish him off here. He does still have his trinket, guys. We do have to be wary of that. He does trinket last second to try and trick us. Apply dots, we come back in, just pump him with backstabs, and it is basically all over, guys. Showing guys another example here. One important thing I really wanted to note for you guys: if you want to play optimal, you do not have to, but if you do want to do this, you guys can either sap priest's shield off or possibly wait for him to just reapply it and then open. We go for a sap here. Unfortunately, my sap does break. There is a 90% chance it doesn't and 10% chance it does. Unfortunately, it does. Priest takes advantage of this, goes for a fear. We instantly go for a trinket into a blind, guys. Now, one important thing I wanted to note here as well: if you are playing undead, you do get into this situation where the priest does trinket a stun or a sap to try to CC you. Please, whatever you do, guys, use Will of Forsaken first, because it is considered a GCD and you will blind him pretty late. I want you guys to instantly trinket into a blind, guys, so you save time, you do not get dotted. He is blind for a cheap shot with damage, backstabs, a stun, it does get resisted, guys. Usually pumping with backstabs, and it is basically already over. Next example is going to be mages. Now, one thing I wanted to note, guys, in this situation is that the mage is playing with preservation here. So in case you are new to the game, preservation is a one-tap heal that mages have, which is extremely powerful. You guys do not want them to have that ever. So we are going to come in here, guys. We're going to sap it off of him so he does not reapply it again. If he does trinket that sap and AoEs you, instantly go for a blind. If he trinkets that, vanish, cheap shot him, he will use blink and then just shadow step this location. He will not be trinketing this, guys. He does use blink there, guys. We're going to shadow step, pump him with ambushes, go for a stun. He will trinket that. We instantly vanish that guy, sprint to his location. He does get us with living flame. We're going to continuously pump him with backsteps here. We do not get any souls. We will go for a deep freeze, guys. Instantly going to trinket that deep freeze. That is the only thing that you want to be trinketing when you are fighting mages. We go for an instant blind. He does use ice block here. Now, whenever they do use ice block, guys, I want you to immediately use preparation for a second blind. He does use it. We go for a second blind here, guys, before he can use cold snap. We wait for those stun DRs to come off, regain energy, and then reopen on him. We gain stealth here, go for an ambush, continuously pumping with damage, vanish here, goes for a blink, we vanish, shadow step, ambush, and he is dead. Showing you guys another example here. And come in, go for a sap, wait for that preservation to run out. You open on him, guys. You do not want him to heal. We are going to go in for a cheap shot. A backstep, he does get a lucky proc here with a freeze. Continuously going to be pumping him here. It's the kidney shot there. Instantly vanish, guys. An ambush, will use sheep there since he is playing arcane, but our trinket ready and it is already too late. Next example is going to be shamans. Now shamans is quite difficult for rogues, guys, so you are going to have to play tactically here. We're going to come in, sap the shaman if he is not in wolf form, start breaking the totems, guys. The first totem you are going to want to target is poison. If he does trinket, guys, you can instantly blind him. We are just waiting to get out of combat to cheap shot him. Stuff, go for your cheap shot here. It does resist, guys. We vanish here, go for your cheap shot again, continuously pump it with ambushes, go for a full kidney shot here. If he does trinket that, guys, instantly just go for a blind and the game is pretty much already over. Another example here, we cheap shot him, keep on pumping him with damage. We go for a kidney shot does get resisted. We go for a full gouge here to gain a combo point. We are instantly going to go for a blind. If he does trinket that, guys, be ready to vanish. He does not trinket this. He will trinket this late, guys, in order to trick us. He will go in for heavy damage. We instantly vanish here, go for a cheap shot. Continuously pump him here, guys. Go for a full between the eyes. Going for backstab damage here. Go for a blind. Use bandage in order to recover. For the DRs to come off, go for a sap here. Go for a kidney shot here. Pumping him with damage. And it is already too late. Now the next example is going to be hunters, guys. So the hunter is going to be sitting on his flare with his trap there, which is still absolutely fine, guys. You still have the advantage. You guys are going to want to wait and see if he starts moving around the trap. If he does, you guys are instantly going to want to open here. One other thing I wanted to note that's extremely important, guys. Before you open on the hunter, make sure that he refreshes his trap so that ice trap is on a CD. Now that he has refreshed his trap, we are going to come in here, guys. Sprint into a cheap shot. It does resist since he is orc. It is absolutely fine. We are instantly going to trinket that trap, guys. Go for an evasion. He will use scattered shot on us. Again, absolutely fine. We are going to shadow step to him, continuously pump him with backstab damage. We're going to go for a stun there. He will trinket that, guys. Instantly go for a blind, and the game is pretty much already over. For a sap here, disarm the trap for that DR to come off. Even if the stun does resist, it is absolutely fine, guys. There's no pressure. The main reason we want him to use his trinket quite early is to gain re-stealth and try to gain distance from flare so we can re-stealth and go for a full blind. So second way to beat them, which is way easier, guys. You are going to want to be playing with the frost reflector trinket for his ice trap on the opener. And guys, please do make sure the hunter does refresh his trap before you open. Not want to get frost trapped twice. We are just waiting for him to refresh that trap, guys, before we open, so it is on CD. Wait to see if we can get a advantage on him for him to use that trap again. Instantly going to be popping reflector to eat the trap. With backstab damage here, pop an evasion to avoid any physical damage. He will use a shot here. We can afford to trinket this, guys. Come in, go for a full between the eyes here. If he does trinket, we can just blind. He does trinket, we go for an instant blind, guys. The game is already set and won. Absolutely nothing he can do here, guys, and he will go down. Now the next example is going to be paladins, guys. Now it is quite hard to film finding paladins, guys, especially when they have their full CDs, since I cannot duel paladins since they are from the opposite faction, but I did do my best to capture some footage here. So we are going to come in here, guys, vanish into a cheap shot since we are already in combat, start pumping him with damage here. If he does trinket, guys, we can just full gouge, sprint away. He will use bubble here. Unfortunately for us, guys, we have to gain distance here. He will use rep on us. Now please, guys, whenever you are in this situation, you never ever want to trinket rep, because if he stuns you, he can kill you within that stun. We are waiting for that hodge. He will use hodge. He will trinket that, guys. We're instantly going to go for a vanish here. Distance, wait for that DRs to come off of him for another cheap shot here. It is the art, sadly, but we had to open in time before his bubble does come back. Shadow step kidney, not to pump him with full damage here, guys. Try to go for a, he will use lay on hands here. Still absolutely fine, guys. We're going to move here some distance, try to regain our energy. He is playing dwarf, so we cannot bind him here, guys, which is still absolutely fine. We can still fully gouge him. Back in, go for an eviscerate, start pumping him with backstab damage, and he will go down there, guys. Showing guys another example here for a cheap shot. Start pumping him with backstab damage. For a stun, he will use bubble there, guys. He does use hodge on us. We do not have our trinket here, guys, unfortunately, so we have to eat this damage. Now, one important thing I wanted to note, the main reason why I always want you guys to use full PvP gear, only when you are playing world PvP, guys, is for the maximum HP, so you can survive scenarios like this. If you are playing in a battleground, you guys can swap to some PvE gear, which is absolutely fine, but please, whenever you are in world PvP, use the full PvP set, maximum amount of HP. Now, as you guys can see, the amount of damage he can do in one stun. Shadow step, go for a vanish here. Sadly, he does get us out. Still absolutely fine here, guys. Want to gain distance, we still have blind, we still have preparation. Now, as I stated before, I not have my trinket, but the paladin does not have his trinket as well, which is fair. We are going to go for a blind for a full cheer to recover, going for a cheap shot between the eyes. will go down here, guys. And yeah, that is the phase 5 guide for sub rogues. I hope the video did help you in any way, shape, or form, guys. If it did, please do consider leaving a like, join the Discord, and if you are looking for my talents, I will be leaving it in the description of the video, and as well as the comment section of the video. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.